everyone. Welcome to the Real Financial Freedom Podcast with my friend Long. Hey, Long.
How's it going, Diana?
How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be talking about more real estate.
It's the best topic.
It is the best topic.
What other topic is better than real estate?
Maybe next time we'll talk about the metaverse.
Oh, yes. That is something that we need to talk about. But
let's talk about real estate for now. So in real estate, right now, the market's, end of the year right now, 2020, almost 2022.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, I can't believe it.
Yeah. And the market has been strong, even during COVID, strangely enough. And, if COVID couldn't stop our Toronto market, then basically nothing will. Short of maybe a zombie apocalypse.
You mean a global pandemic is not enough for Toronto? No.
Maybe they have to up a notch and put like some zombies in the mix, and then maybe our real estate will go down.
Are you kidding me? Zombies are going to be like, so how much down do I need for this property? How many offers are there? Can I put in an offer?
If a zombie buys us real estate before you, then I think you have a real evaluation.
Then you really got to step it up. You really got to step it up.
Exactly. But yeah, so starting with the market, do you think, since the market's so hot and everyone's talking about it's a bubble, it's a burst, but do you think it's of a bubble or it's more of a supply and demand issue?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, you would think it's a bubble, but to be honest with you, there is definitely a supply-demand problem in this city. You got to think about it this way. Toronto is it's not like America. America has, I don't know how many metropolitan cities, right? They have a lot of developed cities in the U.S. that people can kind of move around to, right? But Toronto is one of 3 metropolitan cities. We have Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, and a few other smaller metropolitan cities, right? Really, not full blown, but it is the biggest city. Everybody wants to move here. They may start somewhere else in Canada, but everybody eventually wants to move here. This is where all the jobs are. But the problem is that we have way too much demand. We have a large number of people migrating to the city, and we don't have enough homes. We are not building fast enough, and there's a variety of reasons for that. It's really hard to get around the government permits and development restrictions. There are a select few that can do it really fast, but not really. It's a long process, and it's very expensive. So I think the city has to ease up on some of those obtaining permits and things like that. But that is the biggest problem. But with the interest rates also being so low, people, I was reading an article the other day, and almost 72% of people said that the housing prices and the increase of housing prices did not impact their decision making to purchase a property in 2021. So people are still seeing it as a very lucrative investment. And a lot of times the market moves based on people's psychological perspective on things.
And I think that has social media or even the internet has really has affected that as well. People have become more knowledgeable regarding real estate, and then or even what's going on in the world and the economy. And I think a lot of people are seeing that inflation is coming, or was coming, and they knew, and that's why I think there was one of the reasons they were comfortable buying real estate, because real estate is the best hedge against inflation.
Absolutely.
And now that inflation's here, I think that's when everyone's like, okay, maybe I should buy more. And the question would be how do you think? Why does real estate hedge towards inflation?
Well, the thing is that when you think about it this way, if you have $1 in your account and you keep that dollar in your account for 10 years, in 10 years, that dollar is just going to be $1. Nothing is going to change. The only thing that has changed is its purchasing power, right? You can't buy the same thing that you would be able to in 10 years. But if you take that dollar and you put it into, appreciating investments like real estate, then your dollar just went to, $500 or $10,000. So that's why it's such a great investment. And that's why people use real estate as a hedge against inflation.
Exactly. And I remember 10, 15 years ago, $20 will get you so much. You could have a day on $20. Now $20 will get you a parking spot.
Well, you could buy 5-cent candies when I was in elementary school. Now you can't buy anything less than I don't even know how much it is. It's probably like $2 now for sour key candy.
Actually, no, I think it's about there. Like, no, especially if after this whole COVID situation, I think inflation has really gone up. Like, so it's just crazy.
Well, look at it this way. When we, so my family moved from, we grew up in the North York area. If anybody is from Toronto, North York, kind of Fairview Mall, Don Mills and Shepherd area, really good area at the time. It was okay. And we moved to Richmond Hill. We bought at the time a $400,000 property, which was a lot. Like, we went over our budget, and that was 25 years ago or so. 20 years ago, but now that property is $2.5 million. Like, how do you beat that?
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of, so when people talk about saving money, I want to save money. You cannot save faster than the property prices are increasing. You can't. Like, it's impossible. If a $500, $600, $1 million property, you can't.
Yeah.
Right. If it's increasing at 10, 15, 30% a year, how are you going to save enough money for that with your job?
There's no way. I mean, I think the mentality of saving up to beat inflation or beat even the real estate market increase is just impossible. Like,
yeah.
I think people have to get away from that I'm going to save enough mentality to maybe I'm going to put everything on the line to buy a property. My friend, actually, when he bought his first property, he was living on ramen noodles and it was tough time for him, but like he stuck it out, and then after that he made so much money on his property.
Yeah.
I mean, even myself, like I bought a townhouse 3 years ago, actually, for around 900 something. Right now I'm refinancing now, and I did a appraisal, and it's worth 1.4 now. Yeah. That's insane.
And I don't know how much you're going to take out of that property, but think about that. You're going to take money out of your property that you did not, all you did was pay your mortgage. It's not like you went to work. It worked for you. Okay. A lot of people's homes is the highest earner in that entire household. So, but the best part is you're going to take that money out tax free. It's not taxed. It's tax free. Yeah. So whatever it is, 150, 200, however much you're going to take it, and now you can reinvest it in another property. Then you're going to take that out tax-free. And that's the tax advantage of real estate.
And that's faster than saving. It's fast. Like, you're letting the market rise together. You're rising with the market together instead of like trying to catch the market. Right? Like,
exactly.
I think that's the hardest thing. And so, but I know you went to Florida.
Yeah.
So then, how does Florida real estate market compared to our Toronto market?
Yeah. I feel like I'm watching Toronto market maybe 30 years ago. Florida market, they're also seeing an appreciation. They're seeing a supply problem, but not the same supply problem we are seeing. But the difference between, I think, American real estate and Canadian real estate is the regulations. Like, we are very highly regulated here. Realtors, mortgage brokers, lenders, lawyers. Like, lawyers close our deals. Yeah. Whereas in America, you could have a lawyer close your deals, which I prefer. But it's title companies. And they're not as highly regulated as we are. And that's why it leaves their market to be a little bit more volatile. But they do have, like, it's a different type of market, right? They're more cash flow positive, whereas like here, our properties appreciate exponentially. Yeah. So I think that's where the difference is. You could buy a property way cheaper, but their markets go like this a lot. Whereas like our market, it's always on an incline. It might take small dips, but then it's back on the incline.
So for everyone else, what is a title company? Like, so some people are aware of what that means.
Well, they close the deals. They close it. Yeah, they do that. Yeah,
yeah,
they transfer title. They do that whole thing.
Oh,
but
okay.
but a lot of people will still have lawyers closing their deals, right? Because it's a little bit more.
I mean, it's safer.
Right?
It's safer too. Like, I mean, I would rather get a lawyer.
I would rather get a lawyer too. But I think that's what we're used to. That's what we're conditioned to as Canadians, right? In America, it's just not like that. But I do think that their market is a little bit more volatile. There's a lot of private lending there, no income check, no credit check, nothing. Like, you could just buy a property.
No credit check?
If you go private.
Oh, wow. True.
They do an appraisal, though. So they are seeing an increase in their market as well. But it's a little different here.
It's a little different. And I mean, I guess the regulations here do help keep us safe. I guess that's why Toronto is the best market truthfully to really invest to, because one, our patient goes up, two, then you're safer, right? Like if I mean, you can make as much money as you want, but sometimes if you're not safe, then it's kind of like, oh, you know, all down the drain is kind of the worst scenario.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And tomorrow we never have to worry about that, right?
And people have a lot of money in their homes here. If you bought a house 5 years, like you bought when did you say you bought your townhouse?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Like, you're not walking away from that house.
Yeah. Honestly,
right?
Yeah, it's true. Like,
no matter what, you'll figure out a way to make the mortgage payments work.
Yeah, it's true. And actually, I was only able to afford that because we had a condo and we sold that. And I think a lot of people don't realize your first home may not be the one that you dream of, but it could definitely get you there. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like a lot of people, I think they're trying like to save up and buy that dream home, right? Like if we're talking about saving, and like, there's no way. One of the best ways probably would be just buy the not dream home, let it appreciate, sell that, and then you can afford a dream home.
Well, your first home is not your forever home.
Yeah.
Your first home is just a stepping stone. So I did the same thing. Like, I had a condo. That was my first property that I got. You know, I didn't want to make the payments, so I just rented it out. And for 5 years, I didn't pay a dime out of my pocket. I think I paid a total of $1,000 in terms of repairs. Like, I had to fix a laundry machine or something. But in 5 years, I'm not worried about it. I ended up selling it. I did the same thing you did. And then I bought a townhouse. I refinanced that and so on and so on. But I think one thing people need to realize too, because a lot of times when I talk to buyers, they're worried about mortgage payments. We can't make the payments. We can't make the payments. You don't have to make the payments. You could find tenants to make the payment. This is what it's actually, it's a mindset. Yeah. It really is. Like, I remember even talking to somebody in Florida. He was saying that he's looking for a property. He wants to have a property with a pool. He lives in a property with a pool right now. And I said, well, why don't you just buy anything that you can afford? Because you can't afford a property with a pool.
Yeah.
Stay in the house that you're living in right now and just rent the other one out and let it increase in value. He couldn't wrap his mind around it. Like, people believe and think that they have to live in the house that they own, and you don't have to. You could just rent it out. And, you know, there are so many different ways to make money now. You could Airbnb it. If you're in a condo, you could, you know, I've talked about this in my other videos. You could rent out your condo to photographers and videographers. There's a lot of creative ways you can make money from your property, and people just need to get out of this box of, you know, what real estate was and how it's supposed to be, and, you know, what we're conditioned to believe, because, you know, our parents growing up, it was like, get married, you know, have a career, buy a house, live in the house, pay it off. Like, this idea of paying off your house is not, if you're trying to invest in properties, that's not the right mentality. If I hear somebody that's living in a paid off house, all I could think to myself is, wow, you could buy 3 or 4 more properties right now.
And that's, you know, that's so true. Like, people hear the word debt and it's like, oh my God, Voldemort. They don't say the word debt, right? Like, but truthfully, there's good debt and there's bad debt.
Yeah.
And a house, you borrowing that money to do investments is a good debt.
Yeah. And
then after you have the property, then if you want to pay off a whole house with one of the mortgages, everything's done, and then you don't have to live in that. That's just pure cash flow income.
Yeah.
Like, why would you, like, and then you buy more and more, and just this mentality of that. And as you said, the mentality, I think it's one of the views I watched which really stuck was, they're really smart investors. They're really smart go-getters, or the person who really succeeded is when they hear, oh, no, you can't do that, or it's not within your capabilities. Like, when people go get mortgages and, like, the bank tells you, oh no, you can't afford the mortgage right now. And you know what? The ones who don't succeed are the ones who are like, okay, I understand. I'll listen to you. And the ones who really succeed in life are like, you know what? No, you tell me no, I can't do it, but there has to be a way where I can do it. So let's work towards finding that solution. They don't take that no, right? Like, they're like, no, I say no to your no, and let's find the answer. Like, you know, like there has to be an answer to me being able to afford it. And maybe let me cut down on this, cut down over here, borrow some money over here that maybe can increase or something. Like, you know, there's a way to figure out a solution if you have that mentality of not accepting a no, right? And
definitely. You actually brought up an interesting topic, like people walk into a bank. I talk to so many people that say, oh, I'm talking to CIBC and they said that I'm approved only up to 700,000. Like this blows, like it's mind boggling to me because it's hard. There's not enough education. And this is my goal. This is the reason that I make videos, is because I want people to understand there are different ways of doing things. First of all, the banks that you walk into when you're a bank that's in a plaza, CIBC, TD, they're giving you their one product. Did people know that there's hundreds of lenders? There's literally hundreds of lenders that would be more than happy to work with you. You need to work with an educated, experienced, and intelligent mortgage broker that has your best interest at heart. There are mortgage brokers, believe it or not, that I know that set their clients up from now till 20 years down the road because they know how to structure their deals, how to structure, like, they're financial planners, right? And you don't have to just go with a bank. There are different lenders. There's private. There's B lenders. You got to just get into the property. And another thing you said was interesting about bad debt and good debt. Here's the thing that people need to understand. If you're afraid, I always say, you fear home purchase. You fear being a homeowner. You should fear not becoming a homeowner. It is one of the best paths to retirement, because what's going to happen is the longer that you work at a job, and there's nothing wrong with jobs. Everybody works. I work, you work. That, I think having a career or a job is great. It gives us purpose in life, right? But if you don't start investing in something, whatever that is, you can decide what it is. For us, it's real estate, right? Maybe for other people, it's something else.
Yeah.
I personally like real estate's tried and true. But with inflation and prices continuously going up, like, you cannot buy the same thing anymore for $1,000. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do in the future? You're just going to continue getting into bad debt. Now, you were trying to avoid being in any debt at all, but you're forced to get into bad debt because you're running out of money. Yeah. Right? So.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I mean, that's insane how, schools and everything, no one has this mindset anymore. Like, I mean, now thankfully to podcasts and that we can actually get this information out to people, and it helps a lot of people. And I remember talking to a few people, even before real estate, like, everyone's always wondering, who's buying all these houses? Like, I mean, they're so expensive. I mean, I look, I'm like, honestly, you know what it is? What I've realized now is the investors, the smart people, the people who are willing to not be afraid and they're willing to go to different mortgage brokers. That, like, it's like, why would you trust that one bank person who won't give you any other choices? But anyways, and then go through it, and then go through suffering and to buy that investment. Just go through it and just jump through the hoops of whatever needs to be done, instead of the person who just, like, they're afraid, they're not going to do anything, and that's where they get priced out, as you said, continuously. And it's just crazy how, we still have, I mean, we encounter every day, like, people will, I'm going to wait till next year, or I'm going to wait
till the market cools off. But what's going to happen, even if it cools off, that's not a crash. So if you wait till next year, that $1 million property, first of all, you can't even find a $1 million property. It's so hard now in Toronto. But that $1 million property becomes 1.2, 1.3. Okay, it cooled off. Let's say it cooled off. You can't, if you couldn't buy $1 million, you're sure as hell not buying 1.2, 1.3. Right? So now you're going to have to get a condo. You're going to have to, bring down your criteria.
And, like, you're a little behind, but at least, I would say, even if you have to buy that condo, buy that condo.
Yeah.
Like, especially in Toronto, like, you can be confident it will go up. And then rent it out if you need be. And, like, same thing, buy that grungy looking house, and then start renovating yourself, or hiring some people to renovate slowly, and just, put yourself out there, I think is.
But that's why pre-construction, and that's why we do so much pre-construction too. Pre-construction is a great entry into the market. It's not like your entire, maybe some people's life savings. I don't want to sound arrogant, but your deposit structure is broken down in 4 installments in a span of maybe sometimes 2 years. Yeah. So that gives you a lot of times, like, you're forced to save. You can't kind of mess around. You know your payments are coming up, and you'll figure out different ways of making money. A lot of people have, you know, side jobs or side hustles, and they'll figure it out just to get into that first property. And, you know, all it takes is that one property. Yeah. That's it. The rest is history.
It's true. It really is the all-in part. And, you know, actually, speaking of the, you know, putting yourself out there, like, you know, and in Sun Tzu Arvor, actually, there's a thing. It's called dead man's ground, I think, or no man's ground. When you put people in a situation where they have nowhere to go but fight, and that means, like, for example, symbolically, it would be like, if I'm put in a situation where I have to pay this house off, or I'm putting, like, you know, I have to save this money, most times people perform.
They manage.
They manage.
Your back is against the wall. You have no choice. You will manage. Yeah. And guys, it's not like a life or death. It's a house.
Exactly.
You know, it's a house. Like, you're not gonna die. And you're right. Like, a lot of people, when your back is against the wall, you'll figure it out. And you know what? Those really painful and tough situations help you grow as a person. Because when you have to get into problem solving mode, that's growth. Yeah. Right? That's growth. That's when you become a different person. You have to figure things out. If you're always comfortable, you know, paying the same rent, making the same money, and that's okay. Like, some people are okay to doing that. Yeah. But you're sitting in front of me talking to me about real estate. That means you want more. You know, so listen to the professionals, and you got to take a little bit of you got to take a leap. You got to take a risk.
Yeah, exactly. I think, as you said, right? Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with whatever you choose, but if you want more, then you have to do more, and you have to take that risk. You have to take that jump. I think, you know, a lot of people really need to hear that, like, you know, look, you can do it. You can do it. You just have to put yourself out there, and that's why you need to find a great real estate agent who's, you know, not just trying to, you know, sell you on a house, but who's willing to help you build that wealth, right? Like, you know, I think that's what we do as well. We, you know, like relationships. How many clients you have call back? You know, thank you. I made so much money on this house. Sure. I'm ready to, you know, refinance it. Years later, after they, you know, they're probably appreciated, and like, you know, years later, like, you know what, hey, I'm gonna refinance. I'm gonna buy another property, right? Like, and it's just a domino effect from there, and it just leads to more options. Especially if you want more, I think real estate is definitely the best way to go. I mean, I'm a little bit biased, but no.
Yeah, I know. But it is, though, right? Like, I know a lot of different things have kind of come up. Like, there's, like, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and, like, what did you...
the
metaverse.
Oh, the metaverse and... no. Oh, the metaverse definitely... Actually, the metaverse real estate could be interesting. I can't wait to look
We are going to do a podcast about that. Yeah. I'm definitely going to learn it. You know what? I'm going to figure it out because once we find successful ways of doing it, we are going to teach other people how to do it. Exactly. Because I'm not close to you know, it is real estate.
It's real estate in the metaverse. Why not?
Yeah,
and, like, it's better than, I don't know, like, what's this new thing? I can't wrap my head around NFT. Like, honestly, I can't wrap my head around that one. I mean, Bitcoin I can understand. Like, I mean, electronic money I can understand, but NFT is just. That's no.
Well, I think just like anything, it takes time for people to become educated and learn about it. The thing is, these things take off and then they just blow up, and then people haven't even had the opportunity to even learn about it, right? But I think everything like Bitcoin sounded really weird,
but
and just bizarre, until
but
now it's like a very common thing to talk about, cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know how much like oh man, I think what's $100,000 a coin now? Or something
no,
like
it's 60,000. We actually checked it.
60,000? Okay. Yeah. Oh, so it went down. It went down.
It went down. It was like 82. 82? Oh, yeah. 82.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. I think NFT I think Bitcoin is less of a trend now. It's actually like it could be stabilized because there's this whole electronic thing of monetary system, which I understand. Like, you know, you can't. It's how before we used to barter with goats and like whatever stuff, and then change to gold and silver, then change to paper. And it could change to Bitcoin later on. We never know, right?
Yeah.
But I'm 100% sure it will never change to NFT.
Oh, really?
I'll trade you this monkey picture for your house. I mean, it could be possibly worth, but it just doesn't. I just don't think that's a good currency. But I'm biased, anyways. But I say real estate at least is not a trend. It's a time tested and true. And I'm pretty sure any rich person,
100%.
Like if you're a billionaire, millionaire, if you have money, I guarantee you that person has real estate. There's no way they don't have real estate. And they will have Bitcoin, they'll have some stocks, maybe an NFT, but guarantee you that person will have real estate.
Definitely. Like it's true. Like almost every millionaire, billionaire owns real estate.
Yeah.
There's that one quote, like, buy a piece of earth. They're not making them anymore. So it is a tried and true, but I wish that they teach these things in school, because I can appreciate like learning geography and math and English and Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Have you used Shakespeare?
Actually, I have.
Don't lie.
Yeah, I have. But it's just for fun.
It's for fun. Yeah. No, but I laugh about it. I'm not a teacher. I'm not, working in the school curriculum. But I know that a lot of the things that I learned, even in university, was just garbage. I hate to say this. It was absolutely garbage. I don't remember anything. I'll tell you what I do remember from university. Economics. Supply demand. I'll never forget that course. It will always stay in my mind, microeconomics. But they need to teach these things in school instead of forcing kids to learn about things they're never going to use. Let's start teaching kids about finances, about investing, how to earn money, instead of teaching them how to become employees. Again, nothing wrong with employees. Everybody has to have a job. Everybody has to have a career, whatever it is you want to do, right? Because you wake up in the morning, it gives you a purpose, fine. Yes. But you have to know how to invest. You have to understand basic finances.
That's absolutely true. The schools should definitely teach it. They don't. I mean, there's a lot of things to say about that, which we won't get into. But at least, you know what? Hey, if schools aren't going to teach it, that's what we're here for. And I think in the future, as our team grows, we would love to do more, not just a podcast, but webinar on
for sure
how to do investing, how to even. I believe we have a course on how to run an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And I think you can do a course on how to buy the right condo unit to supply to give entice photographers and videographers.
I'm passionate about that. Like I love it.
Yeah. So I think that's where we could go. We are going to go, and I think that's where our team goes, and I think that's where people in general are going to go. They want to learn more of these things. Just never had the venue or the ability to learn it back when they're young. But now, thanks to internet and podcasts, I think we can definitely teach more people. And I think we can end on that note. I think stay tuned. We're going to be definitely in the future doing webinars on how to invest into real estate, what to look out for, and then teach people how to use their properties and to gain more money, right? So,
yeah. And, an advice that I have for young people, I mean, they like, you're right. They are a little bit more, I don't want to say at an advantage, because that would mean that I was at a disadvantage, but they do have a lot more information available to them. I love the fact that young people now are more into podcasts and audibles and things like that. Whereas like in our days, it wasn't really like that. And we had our parents' mentality of like working, buying a house, saving money, paying off your house. Luckily, I come from a real estate family, but the advice that I would have for young people is watch a lot of podcasts and read a lot of books, listen to a lot of books, listen to YouTube videos about real estate, investing, finances, taxes. Like, people don't talk about taxes because it's huge. Like, oh my God, it's like exhausting. Just even the word is exhausting. But you got to know the basics. You got to know how to make your money go a long way, and you will be a lot more successful in your 20s. In your 30s, and it's just a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to say that university is the way, but to be honest with you, I'm going to be flat out honest. I don't think it is. But I love seeing like young people have this urge to want to educate themselves more. So that would be my advice to young people nowadays. What would you tell your 20-year-old self? What would be your advice?
Take that risk. Everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
Absolutely.
I think Georgia Dare said that. I think that's the biggest advice I would give myself, or even any young person. Like, when you're young, take that risk. Like, don't listen to people say, "Oh, don't do it." Because when you're young and you're 20, like you can afford to make that mistake and fall, and you can afford to grow and without like it being a huge disaster, like a huge disaster when you have family, kids. You don't want to take that risk. Like you have to play it more safe because you have mouths to feed and people to take care of. But when you're young, you don't have to take anyone but yourself right now. No one but yourself. Well, maybe your parents. You always be good to your parents, but like. Take that risk, take that jump, and don't be afraid to fall because falling is your best lesson. And
thank you for watching. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's to everybody. And if you guys are not following us, follow us on our Instagram, Toronto Platinum Realty Team. My Instagram is Diana Shal. We have a YouTube channel. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and tune in for our next one.
Happy holidays, everyone. All the best, and see you guys next time.
See you.